is remembered as an athlete, one that dominated in 3 sports, and a coach that took the Vikings to 4 Super Bowls. But to some, he's remembered as the man who took Winnipeg to Canada's Grey Cup. What was it like the day you got hired to be the coach of the Minnesota Vikings?
I was very happy in Winnipeg. We had a good team, but you sit down and do your sums. Television was coming in. We weren't going to be able to compete for the best players as we had in Canada. This was our home. This is probably the only place I would have come, left up there. Now, in retrospect.
And he is remembered for his love of the outdoors. Spent time with Grant in a field waiting for geese. And you understand, you're hunting with someone who has studied the field and made it part science. But he's also stopped to make sure he enjoys these precious moments. Do you still get the same rush when you see ducks or geese coming towards the decoys?
You never lose that. You never lose that. The other thing, you don't want to be too good a shot, because you always want to be thrilled when you get something.
Anywhere outdoors is where he feels comfortable, and it doesn't much matter if he's with someone or all alone. He is forever fascinated by nature's seemingly perfect order, one where somehow things just make sense.
It's great to be alive. It's great, and I think that if you talk to a bird watcher or anybody that does anything in the outdoors, I don't care if you're sailboats or trout fishermen or anything that you do outdoors. It's a feeling, you're a camper or canoer, it's just an exhilaration, not bubbling over, but just a great calming feeling. I think I figured out the other day, I got to leave it to be about 118 to make up all the time I've missed, because I go hunting now with guys, or I know people my age that I know that used to be big, deer hunter, duck hunter, whatever, pheasant hunter. They don't do it anymore, because they've satisfied whatever that component is, but I haven't done that yet. I haven't reached that point. I still look forward to getting out and doing.
Former players gather at a local restaurant. They're talking about a number of topics, but ultimately the conversation always turns to football, and at some point it always turns to their head coach, Bud Grant.
Bud Grant, to me, represents common sense. I mean, he. One of the things that really impressed me about him, he didn't have a lot to say, but you knew what he wanted out of you. He could do it with a look.
That represents a great time in Minnesota sports, when the people wearing purple won, and won consistently, with a leader that was the epitome of leadership.
He has that patient, common sense, disciplined approach to everything. As a player, he liked guys, one, that wouldn't make mistakes, and other guys, the same guy that would make big plays, and that's how he kind of evaluated players. He didn't really put you in a box.
Eyes were everywhere. He was no matter where it was, his eyes were there. He just look at you and you go, oh my gosh, I'm out of here. I'm gone.
His effect on people is not that he forged into their lives, but they were drawn to watching him and learning from him as they move forward.
And I just loved him. I just loved being around him and listening to him and hearing the stories and quizzing him. And he always gave me time. He was kind of unapproachable for a lot of people, but
greatest ability a person can have is making decisions, and there are a lot of people who cannot make decisions.
It is in those words that people find solutions, that he becomes a teacher even to the teachers.
I think that Bud Grant is one of the great people that I've met in my lifetime. Not just from the standpoint of the respect that I have for him as a coach, but he's just a tremendously interesting guy to be around.
Then my father was here. He was different than I was. He was a very gregarious guy. He'd stand up and he'd say, the kid made it. He finally made it.
He has grown to have seen better than 8 decades on this earth, and he is appreciative of it all.
Just how lucky you are, I mean, you can say, well, you're good at this or good at that, but, you're lucky to have your health. You're lucky to have been associated with the right people in the right organization. You're beholden to so many people. You can't say, well, I did it. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, you didn't do it. The players did it. You worked for an organization that was good and right, and all the pieces were there. And you look around and say, hey, I was pretty lucky.
Life to the Max is brought to you by Life Touch, photography for a lifetime.